I'm Sara Lovecraft, and I am very happy to be with you on this Tuesday afternoon, evening, depending on where it is that you are in the country. It is evening here where I am, and it is also very ominous outside. It is, we have tornado warnings and storms all around us. I've lost power twice today. So fingers crossed that I don't blow away during the show. I laugh because that's my only way of dealing with my anxiety. No, but seriously, I have somebody keeping a very close watch on outside, and hopefully everything will be absolutely fine. If you are somewhere where there are storms tonight, I hope that you are safe and sound. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Diane. Hi, Kendra. How are ya? I hope you are having a good afternoon, evening so far. All right, so let's talk about some things, shall we? It is Trunk Show Tuesday, and this is my very first Trunk Show Tuesday, so I'm really looking forward to this one. This is a show all about Beadalon. This is the best of Beadalon, which is actually kind of a misnomer, because this is not the best of Beadalon all over Beadalon, just the best of some of the things that I picked out. Does that make sense? I love all Beadalon. It's all the best. So I had a hard time choosing, but I've got some great items for you in the show today. But before we get into all of that, I do have the housekeeping as usual, guys. So at any point during today's show, if you would like to click on the shopping bag, you can pull up the information about all of the items that are in today's show. So if there's a little more extra information that you need, or I skipped over something, or you are, you get further down into the show and you're like, oh, wait a minute. I think I might want to add that thing she just talked about to my cart. You can do all of that while watching the show, which is fantastic. So you can get all of the information, you can add it to your cart, and you can check out all while watching the show, and it's just going to make me smaller. And then once you've gotten all of your items and you've checked out, if you'll click on me, it will make me big again. So you don't have to miss anything. However, should you have to miss something, you can always come back and watch this as a video on demand. Now, during the show, if you do not mind to hit those heart buttons to show the love. If you are excited about whatever it is that I'm showing, there's no project today, so you can't hit the hearts for the project, but if you love the items and you just love everything that's going on in the show, hit those heart buttons to share that love. And speaking of sharing, if you would like to share this on your social media, we would greatly appreciate it. If you would like to share this to a Facebook group that you are part of, or just your own social media, it is a great way to virtually word of mouth reach the other makers out there who don't yet know about us and are not part of our community yet. We want to grow that community very, very strong, big, wide, take over the whole world. I'm just kidding. Or am I? No, but we definitely want to grow this amazing community, and the best way to do that is by reaching out via social media. So any little bit that you can do to help support us is very, very helpful, and we appreciate it so much. Hi, Robin. Hi, Mary. Hi, Sue and Anna. It's so good to see you guys. I hope you guys are safe and sound this stormy evening. All right, let's see. What else am I missing? So if you happen to be shopping with us, or watching rather, from Facebook, we like to make your shopping easy for you. And you've got a little box in the top of your screen that's got item codes in it. If you'll type those items in, you're going to get a message directly to your messenger, and that's going to take you to those items so you can add those directly to your cart. So even if you are watching via Facebook, you can still shop along with us if you would like to. However, keep in mind that if you are shopping via Facebook, that we cannot see you in the chat. So if you want to come and be a part of the actual conversation that's going on here, and you want to chat with the community as well as me, you want to come over to the regular show, the big show, and be part of that conversation. So, all right, let's see. Anything else? Yes, sign up for that newsletter, guys. If you have not done so already, I know I mention it a lot, so hopefully most of you have done it. But if you're new, go over to the Art Beads website and sign up for the newsletter. That is the #1 way to stay in the know about all things that are going on with Art Beads. Where we might be going, what we might be doing, when the lives are coming, when there are sales, and special offers. I was trying to do sales and special there. So yeah, signing up for that newsletter is a great way to stay in the know of all of those things, as well as joining our Facebook group, Serious Art Beaters. That is also a wonderful place to keep up with all of the information and get tons of inspiration, not just from the designers here at Art Beads, but from all of the community members as well. So please take advantage of all of those things. Guys, we would love to have you be a part of our Facebook group, and we definitely want you to sign up for that newsletter so you don't miss anything. All right, so in the show today, as I mentioned, I'm showing off the best of Beadalon. But before we get into that, I've got a little poll for you guys because I'm thinking we're going to do a giveaway. I love a giveaway. Let's do a giveaway, but there's a poll involved here. You get to decide what it is the prize is, and you have to answer via the poll. You can't just throw this into the chat. So here's what I'm thinking, okay? I'm thinking Jewel Loom or the Flush Cutter or the Bead Reamer. Those are our three choices. And in the poll, guys, you get to decide. Pick one of those as the giveaway item. And later on in the show, we'll do the giveaway. But you got to do the poll first part. Wait, what? You got to do the poll part first. I think that's what I said. I don't really know. It's a tongue twister. You gotta do the poll to pick out what the giveaway item is going to be. And then we will do the actual giveaway here in just a little while. So you want to be sure that you are making your choice as to what it is that you could potentially win in our giveaway. All right. I also want to mention that everything in the show today ships free. I'm having a day. Is it Monday? It's Tuesday, but it feels like a Monday. Everything in the show today ships for free. Now, let me explain what that means to you, other than the fact that it's just free shipping. It kind of means something a little bit bigger than just free shipping. As far as the items that are in today's show, if you have one of those items in your cart and you fill your cart up with other items, maybe things that are not in the show, that one item that is from my show will be the trigger to make your items ship free. So in other words, take advantage of adding the items that are in today's show into your cart, and then maybe grabbing some of the other things from the website that you would like to have and get it all free shipped to your door. That's fantastic. That's my favorite way to do free shipping. So you definitely want to take advantage of that because it means that you can grab some of those other things. Not that you need a whole lot of convincing to grab those other items, but free shipping sure is nice, and I would love for you to take advantage of that. All right, so without further ado, let's talk about Beadalon, shall we? We're going to talk about the best of. And as I mentioned earlier, the best of is not necessarily true because there are so many Beadalon items that I absolutely love and adore. This is just a few of them that I've picked out to share with you guys that are available on Art Beads, and it is by no means all of the items that I love from Beadalon. So I couldn't keep you here for like 3 hours. Otherwise, I would have picked all the things. But I've picked out a few, and we are going to talk about all of those. Let's turn around, go to the bead mat, shall we? And let's get into things. Sorry about the pliers. All right, now this is going to be kind of no particular order here. I'm not really sure how to start this, so I'm just going to grab the first thing that was on my list and one of the items that's in the poll, and that is the Jewel Loom. Now, you guys, if you saw my last project, was it my last project? I think it was project before last. I did a Jewel Loom project with you guys on a Friday for our Maker Master show. It was a whole lot of fun, and as much as I loved that project, it really only kind of scrapes the surface of what is possible with a Jewel Loom and why this is one of my very top favorite items that's available from Beadalon on the Art Beads website. Now, first and foremost, I want to talk about the loom itself, not necessarily the things that are possible with it, but the actual loom, which makes this even better than just the projects that are available. First of all, this is a compact loom. I've got the rod in it at the moment, so you can see it has the curve shape here. You've got your ridges where you're going to put all of your materials to create your warp threads and all of that. However, when you do not have the rod in this, it lays flat. I stick mine, believe it or not, in a notebook. I know that might be kind of weird, but I do. I've got mine in a notebook. It's just set between some project pages that I have, and it keeps it safe and sound. You can stick this next to your books on your bookshelf. You can put this on the top. You can just really throw this anywhere because it's lightweight and it lays flat, which is nice. It doesn't take up a ton of room. There are other looms that are on the market that are fantastic, but they really are kind of cumbersome and you've got to find a place to put them. This one, I love it because it is handheld and it is super portable, really easy to take around with you, does not weigh a lot, and you don't have to carry a ton of supplies and stuff when you're using it. Now, as far as the loom itself is concerned, excuse me, there are so many design possibilities with this that I only showed you one very small possibility. I have some examples of things that you can do with this because I think a lot of people don't realize what all is possible. First, I want to talk about the fact that you can use any kind of stringing material that you want to. And let me give you a couple examples here just to show you. So the project that we did, we used Wildfire for, so you can use your regular beading threads to create your projects, right? This is the one that we did together. However, you can also use other things. This is, I believe this is embroidery thread. I'm pretty sure. It could just be cotton cording. I'm not entirely sure, but it really makes no difference. I didn't add any beads to this though. So for those of you who love fabric designs, you can 100% create fabric designs on your jewel loom. Not only can you create pendants and bracelets, but you can create wall hangings. You can do wearable art. You can do fiber art. There's so many possibilities. So I wanted to be sure that I talked about this one because not only is it portable and easy to use, but you can create so many amazing things. I've used a combination here of hemp and Wildfire, so you can really get creative as far as what your warp threads are and then what you want to go back and forth with your weft. You can use literally anything. You can use leather if you want to. You can use ribbon. There's so many possibilities. And then, of course, you can always embellish. Like with the one that we did here, we embellished the side. I embellished the sides on this bracelet. And then you can do kind of a combination of both. This is one of my very favorite pieces that I've ever made on the loom, a really wide bracelet cuff that is a combination of both cord and beads, and then I embellished the top so you can see the back of it is all that wonderful looming work, and then the front I just embellished with loops and crystals and sparkly things. So these are just some of the things that are possible with the jewel loom. I think a lot of times people think that the loom is just for bracelets, and it's really not. You can create guitar straps. You can do belts and hat bands. You can even create rings. I've done a couple of classes where I've taught rings on the jewel loom. So there's a whole world of design possibilities when it comes to the loom, and the fact that you can just throw it in your bag and it's super easy to carry around with you makes it even more fun, in my opinion, because it means like you can take it to, take it on vacation with you, take it to the beach. You can, you can sit on the plane, you can sit on the beach, you can sit in the hotel lobby. You can literally be anywhere doing this. For me, it's a very therapeutic. It's the back and the forth. I can do it while I'm watching TV, kind of mindless TV, and creating things at the same time. So I definitely wanted to include the jewel loom in my favorites here. I hope that you guys will agree with me. And if you've never used the loom before, I highly recommend grabbing one of these. I wanted to show you too, right before we move on to the next thing, what did I do with the package? I've got it right here. So I wanted to show you something else that I think is really kind of important. not just about the Jewel Loom, but about Beadalon products in general, is that they always have really good instructions. So not just the Jewel Loom, like I mentioned, there are other things that Beadalon has, and they're really great about giving you step-by-step instructions with the written instruction as well as the picture. So you're going to be able to set this up easy peasy. It makes sure that you know how to get started, everything you need. It even shows you how to complete a design. So if you are curious and you think, oh, I'll never be able to learn how to do this, I promise you can. You 100% can. You've got the instructions and then tons of other materials that you can use to get ideas from. So definitely a fun one for sure, and a great reason to grab seed beads. Not that you need a reason to grab seed beads, but if you happen to be shopping on today's show and you want to add some seed beads with your Jewel Loom, those are going to ship free. So just keep that in mind. All right, so moving on to the next, and I think this kind of goes hand in hand with that Jewel Loom, and that would be the Wildfire. So Wildfire comes in a lot of different colors, and it comes in a couple of different sizes. I've got the gray in today's show because the gray is such a nice neutral. I really, really love this. Now, this is thermally bonded, and a lot of people don't really understand what that means. It means that this stuff is color fast. In other words, you can wear this in the shower, you can wear this in the sun, you can wear it, and that color is not going to bleed off onto you. That color is bonded to the thread, and it is not going to come off on your skin or your clothing, which is really nice because there are some threads that are in the world where the colored ones, you guys know, if you've ever used beading thread in a color, you know that sometimes those colors end up on your skin and or the rest of your work, and that is never a good thing. So I've included some of the gray because, like I mentioned, this is a great neutral. It's not white. And though I do like the white, I like that the gray is just a little bit more subtle than the white. So in other words, this is going to disappear. It's a camouflage color. It's going to disappear into your work, where if you don't want your threads to be part of the design, you're not going to notice this gray at all. I used the gray for this project, and you barely see those threads at all. I could have used white, but I felt like the gray was just the right choice, particularly for my edging here going between the beads here. The white may have popped a little bit more, whereas the gray kind of just disappears into the design. Now, like I said, it comes in a couple of different colors and sizes that you can grab on the Art Beads website, but I love this stuff. It is one of my absolute favorite beading threads. So if you're going to use, if you're going to be doing seed beads on the Jewel Loom, or you just like seed beading in general, having some Wildfire on hand is a great thing to have in your stash. I use this for making tassels, like beaded tassels and things like that. So I use it for a lot of different things. I like it because it has absolutely no stretch whatsoever. So the tension that I put on this, whether I am, creating a design on the Jewel Loom, or if I'm just doing a beading project in general, the tension that I put on it, it's going to hold. It's not going to stretch. It's not going to lose that tension after time or anything like that. So love the Wildfire. Definitely want you guys to check it out. There is always information on the Beadalon packaging. So where like the Jewel Loom had the step-by-step instructions, the Wildfire doesn't have any step-by-step instructions because it doesn't necessarily need it, but you do have a QR code to give you more information about it, and you've got your measurements here on the front of the packaging. So I definitely wanted to share this with you guys. Jewel Loom or not, this is a great beading thread. All right, so moving on, let's talk about not beading thread, but bead stringing wire. And I'm going to bring out all three. And you guys are going to get the lecture. And I'm sure some of you have had the lecture before, but you're going to get it again. Because maybe you're not a seed beater, right? Maybe you don't need any Wildfire. Maybe you're a stringer, or maybe you're a combination of both. On the Art Beads website, you can stock up on your 7-strand, 19-strand, and your 49-strand beading wire from Beadalon. This is my go-to for everything, absolutely everything. And the bright, which is what I've included in the show today, the bright color is, again, a great neutral. Yes, it comes in different colors, and that's wonderful. You can shop the Art Beads website, pick out some of the other colors that you want. Make sure you include one of the ones that I'm showing you here in your cart from the show today to get that free shipping. But I in particular love the bright color. It really just kind of disappears, and it works really well with a lot of different metal colors. So now, why do I have these all three out? Because the question always comes up, and I want to talk about it because I think that there are some misunderstandings when it comes to wire here, particularly the differences between the 7, the 19, and the 49 strands. So I want to talk about that while I have your attention here. Let's talk about what the strand number means first. Okay, so the strand number means, and it is actually on the packaging, it shows you 7 strand means there are 7 strands of wire that are twisted together, and then they have this coating over the top of them, this nylon coating that keeps all of those strands twisted and safe, right? And the 19 strand is 19 of those strands. The 49 is 49 of those strands. We're talking teeny tiny, teeny beany strands, right? That are all twisted together, and then they have this wonderful nylon coating on them that keeps them safe. And that nylon coating, of course, is why it's really important to use good crimps, wire guardians, proper technique, all of those things, right? So, excuse me. Why do those numbers matter? I think a lot of times people look at these numbers, and I'm gonna be real with you here, always transparent with you guys about things like this. There is a price difference. Obviously, there is a price difference between the 7 strand, the 19 strand, and the 49 strand. The 49 strand is going to be the most expensive. And I think that people initially, particularly beginners, they look at that price point and they think that is what the difference is. It's just the price. And I'm here to tell you that is 100% not true. The 7 strand is not a beginner wire. The 49 strand is not a advanced wire. They all have a particular use in your projects, and it's not about what is beginner or the cheapest or more advanced and the most expensive. So don't make that mistake when you're shopping for your wire, because even the most advanced people need all 3 of these. Even the beginners need to have all 3 of these for some very particular reasons. The 7 strand has really good flexibility, but this has the most structure out of all of the wires. And why would that matter? Well, it matters for your project, right? If you're making a bracelet and you want it to kind of have the same feeling as a bangle bracelet, but you want to put regular hardware on it, a 7 strand wire is really going to give you a nice, strong, sturdy base for whatever your project is going to be, right? It's nice and flexible, and you're going to get a little bit of a drape to it, but not much. It really is a sturdy wire that you can create small components out of. So if you wanted to create smaller components or things like that, like little pendants out of your wire, the 7 strand is the way to go, because it's going to really hold up its shape. All right, now I'm looking. Gina says, Sarah, Art Beads has a question. Let me back up here. What's our question? My Instacart order has substitutions. Wanda, oh my gosh. Okay, somebody tell me what the question was. Somebody's screaming Taco Tuesday at me too. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, she even played the Patrick card. Okay, hold on. I'm so sorry. What question was asked? Listen, I get in the zone with this because this is really important information and I want you to have it. I just got in there. I was in the zone. Okay, somebody tell me what the question was. What was the question? Okay. How to make a guitar strap or anything longer than a bracelet? Oh, that is an interesting question. Okay, so yeah. and I'm not really, this is probably not the best place to answer that question without showing you, but so basically what you would do, let's use this as an example because everybody likes looking at this one. So there are some looms that are out there that you can actually warp the front and the back. You can't warp the front and the back of the jewel loom. However, you can do sections. So for instance, right, the amount of space that we can create here is probably over a foot. I can't get the entire loom in the shot here, but you can do at least a foot, maybe more, right, of beadwork. You're going to take that beadwork and you're going to finish off the ends and you're going to cut that away. And then you're going to start another section and you're actually going to have to hand sew those two ends together. So instead of putting a clasp on the end of it, like I have a ribbon crimp here, you're actually going to hand sew those ends together to make your longer pieces. So it is a bit of a process, but it is 100% doable. You don't have to have a huge, big frame loom to create long pieces like that. You're just going to do those in sections and then you're going to weave those together. So, oh my gosh. Wanda, you're stressing me out. Okay, I hope that was the right question that I answered. And now I have totally lost my train of thought with my beading wire. So let's see if I can recover here. Ready? Okay. So, like I said, the 19-strand wire, guys, I'm sorry, the 7-strand wire that doesn't mean beginner. It just means a stiffer structure for your designs. So whether you need that, you need a structure, right? Then this is the wire that you're going to go for. And it's really going to be project specific. The same thing for moving up to your 19 strand. This one has a little bit better flexibility. It's got a little bit more of a drape to it. This is a nice intermediate wire. I don't mean intermediate in the sense of skill level. I mean intermediate in the fact that it is the happy medium between the two of the other wires, the 17 and the 49. So don't get that confused. Intermediate in the middle does not necessarily mean skill level. That means if you need a happy, flexible medium between the two, this is a nice average price point, and this is going to give you kind of a little softer feel, but you're still going to get a little bit of that structure. It's not nearly as stiff as the 7 and not nearly as flexible as the 49. So this is a good kind of in-between wire. This is great for bracelets. The 19 strand is usually the one that I use the most for bracelets because I need that round shape, but I don't want it to be stiff like the 7 and I don't need the drape of the 49, right? Because it's not a necklace. So I'm not relying on gravity plus the flexibility of the wire to give me the drape. So a lot of times with a bracelet, I will reach for the 19 strand. Okay, now 49 strand, this is what most people consider the top of the line, and it's not really. It's just a higher price point because it is more wires. Higher price point doesn't mean better. And it doesn't mean more advanced. It just means that there is more wire here that's been twisted together, so it's more materials that are used to create it. This is the most flexible out of the 3, okay, which means that this has a really nice liquid fluid drape to it. This is definitely good for necklaces. You can use the others for necklaces, but if you want that kind of liquid fluid movement to your jewelry pieces, the 49 strand is definitely the way to go. Because this is the most flexible out of the 3, this is also the one that you can knot with, which I think is a really kind of a bonus to this wire. So you can create some knots with the others, but they don't necessarily hold those knots. I can take a 49 strand bead stringing wire or several of them, and I can knot these together macrame style, right? You can create wonderful knotted designs using your wire as part of the design. You can use your exposed wire in other areas as well. But what I love about the 49, other than the drape, is the fact that I can knot it together and it's going to retain that knot. So this kind of changes the game as far as your beading wire is concerned, because not all of them will do that. And it means that you can use it in even more projects. So just a quick reminder here, what I have in the show is the bright color in all 3 sizes, or all 3 strand sizes, because it's a nice, camouflage color. There are other colors, on the website and other sizes if you need this in different sizes, but these are the ones that you're going to have to add to your cart to get the free shipping if you want the free shipping. And again, please, if there's anything that you take away from this show, let it be that 7, 19, and 49 do not mean beginner, intermediate, and advanced. That is not what that means at all. These are project specific and the strands are specific to your needs. Okay. All right, now, what you need with this is some crimps, of course, right? Because stringing a beautiful project on one of these choices here, you're going to need some findings to go with it. And one of my favorite ways to get findings is the variety pack. And I've got my little variety pack for you here, but I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'm missing one of the colors because I use them all, because I love them. But Beadalon offers these really cool little variety packs of crimps. You can get them in crimp beads or crimp tubes. I've got the crimp tubes in the show today in number 2. And I love that I can grab them in a variety pack like this, where I can get the silver color, the hematite color, the gold color, and the copper color. The copper color, I've used all of mine, so there is not any more in there. I need to reorder, obviously. But this is one of my favorite ways to buy these, because I can get these little tubes. Number one, they're super cute. Number two, it's a great way to store these items that normally would just get lost in a drawer, right? But it also gives me the opportunity to get all 4 colors that I use the most for my, my projects. Now, if you're curious, Beadalon makes things really easy for you by making sure that you know what size findings you need for which size wire. So you can see this bright 49 strand is a 0.018 inch or a 0.46 millimeter in size. And it's either going to use a number 1 crimp bead or a number 2 crimp tube. So I've got all of my number 2 crimp tubes here. I can use any of these colors. I get all 4 colors in one go, and can use those with my wire. Super convenient way to shop on these. Now, again, on the website, there are some other variations of this variety pack. You can get all in silver, all in gold, beads over tubes, but to get the free shipping, you got to pick out the ones that I have in the show today, which are the number 2 crimp tubes. All right, so moving on. I'm kind of a jewelry nerd. Can you tell? Like, I know all of the ins and outs, maybe not all of them, but I try very hard to know all of the ins and outs about products, product education. If you don't know, guys, most of you do, but for those of you who have just recently met me through Art Beads, I've worked with Beadalon ever since I came into the industry. In fact, Beadalon are the ones who brought me into the industry. And one of the things that I prided myself on was product education, making sure that if there were ever questions about any Beadalon products, that I could answer those questions. I was so much of a nerd that I even had some of the product numbers memorized in the catalogs. Like, it was kind of it was almost borderline kind of weird for a little while, but I do know a lot of things about Beadalon products, and I am still very, very closely working with Beadalon. So if there are questions that I can't get the answers to, or that I don't know the answers to, I definitely know who to ask. But when it comes to Beadalon, I stand behind the product, and that's why the product education is very important to me, because I know the quality of the products. I've used them for years, and I can back that up with the education plus the experience of using those. So if you've got Beadalon product questions, I try very hard to be a wealth of knowledge about these products, and about other products as well, not just Beadalon, but Beadalon is definitely where my love for jewelry education and jewelry nerdiness started. So this was a great show choice for me. All right, now I'm going to move on to some other things here, because I've got other things to show you guys that I absolutely love. Now, this is kind of a no-brainer, and that is the Beadalon flush cutter. You guys have seen me use this a million times, and I stand behind this product forever. forever. This is a flush cutter, meaning that you're going to get a flush cut on the wire. And this is a product that is going to last you for a very, very long time if you take care of it. Now you have to actually take care of it. I don't take care of mine. I'm really, really hard on these, and I tend to use them to cut things that I should not be cutting. However, if you will take care of these and only cut your wires with this, and don't cut plastic and don't cut paper, and my goodness, please don't cut cotton cord with it, this will last you for a very, very long time. Stainless steel. Don't cut your stainless steel memory wire with this. But you can use this for all of the other things. So your dead soft wires, your medium tempered wires, things like that, you're going to be able to use this, and it's going to stay sharp for a very, very long time. This is a kind of a pricier item as far as cutters are concerned, but I can promise you it is worth every single penny, especially if you take care of it. It will last you forever. I love the grip on this. It fits my hands perfectly. It doesn't feel awkward, which is good because I use it all the time for everything. Do I always need a flush cut on my wire? No, but I can get one if I want it, and I can use my flush cutter even if I don't care if the wire is cut flush or not. So let me show you what that actually means in action. You can see that the tip of this wire is kind of pointed, right? You see that flat edge on it? It's not flush. It comes to a point. It's got a slant on it. If you use your flush cutter, you're going to be able to see the difference here. See how different that is? That is 100% a flush cut as opposed to that jagged cut. Now, why does it matter? It matters because whatever it is that you're doing with the wire, you might need that flush cut. If you are going to be coming in with your pliers, let me grab some pliers real quick here. Use your round nose pliers. If you are going to make a loop or any situation where your wires are going to come in contact with each other, see how nice that flush cut? I can get that to lay flat. If I wiggle it just a little bit, I can make that flush cut on that wire sit directly on the surface of the wire that's going this direction. Right? That makes a huge difference when you're talking about connections, because if you're going to attach a jump ring to this or some sort of dangle or anything that is going to have any kind of movement to it, if you've got a nice flush cut, the less likely something is going to slip through that little crack, right? So that's why the flush cut is super important to be able to have. You don't always need it. It doesn't always matter. But if you're going to invest in a cutter tool, this is definitely the one that I would 100% invest in. And if you, if you cut wire on a regular basis, it's definitely worth it for sure. Now, don't forget, this was in the poll for our giveaway. If you'll remember, it was the Jewel Loom, the flush cutter, or the Bead Reamer. Bead Reamer's coming up next. So I'm going to show you that right now. All right. Now, here is the Bead Reamer, and mine is beat up, and it is because I use it all the time. So for those of you who do not know what a Bead Reamer is, you can get this one that takes batteries, or you can do it the manual way. But why would you do it the manual way when you can do it with the battery? Basically, your bead reamer is exactly that. It is going to ream the whole of a bead. Now, why does that matter? It matters because if you are using gemstone beads, particularly pearls, freshwater pearls, things like that, where they may not have been drilled, maybe they don't have a straight drill, or the drill has left some shards behind, or they have a very tiny drill hole and you need it to be just a little bit bigger. This is going to be your best friend. I use this for pearls all the time, and it is really handy to use. I'll show you. You can take the tip off. So the tips are interchangeable. You can put the little tip in, slide that down inside there, and then you're just going to put it into the end. And then you're going to push the button. And when you push the button, that little end is going to spin crazy, crazy fast so that you don't have to do it by hand. There's no way I can spin that fast. It doesn't matter how much caffeine I've had, right? I cannot spin a manual bead reamer that fast. So this cuts the time in half for reaming your beads. If you've got a whole strand of pearls, you definitely want a motorized reamer so that you can get through that strand in half the time or less, right? Getting through those really, really quickly. Now, why did I include this in the show? Not only is it a great bead reamer, but you can get an attachment for it for wire. And I wanted to include both parts because if I had just showed you this, you'd have been like, what? I don't understand. This is a wire rounder tip. And this is sort of the equivalent of a bead reamer, but for wire. Not really, but in the sense that you have the option of manual always. You can get wire rounder tips that are manual, the little cup burr with the handle, and you can spin it around. Or you can buy this little attachment. You can take out your bead reamer, take out the tip, put in the wire rounder tip, place that back into your bead reamer, and now all of a sudden this little guy is going to spin like crazy too. Why does that matter? Let me show you. I'm so glad you asked. Now I don't have any beads to ream for you, but I definitely can show you how to use the wire rounder tip. You're just going to place the end of the wire into that little tip and you are going to push the button. And you're also, while that is spinning, going to do this kind of round and round motion. And that is going to round off. You see how it rounded off the edge of that wire, the tip of that wire? This is perfect for if you are making your own ear wires. I never, ever, ever, ever give anybody a pair of handmade ear wires that I don't first ream the end of, right? So for any reason that you might need the rounded edge of wire, whether it is for ear wires or for anything else, this is 100% the way to do it. It's quick, it's efficient, and it's nice and clean. So the next step would just be to kind of, if this was the tip of an ear wire, the next step is just to kind of wipe this off with like an alcohol pad if you wanted to make sure that you get all of the little shards of metal off. But it's super important because if you don't, think about that non-flush cut that we made before I cut it with the flush cutter, right? Think about how pointy and jagged that was. There, on a microscopic level, there are little shards of metal that you can't see, right? And you give that to your customer as an earring and they go and they put it in their ear and all of a sudden they have an infection, and guess whose fault that is? It's yours. So to make sure that you are not the vendor who is giving more than just earrings, but you're passing out infections as well, you want to be sure that you are filing the ends of your wire when it comes to making your ear wires. And then this is also good for other projects, right? If you've got projects where you have exposed ends of wire as part of the design, and you want to round the tip of that off, this is going to be your number one for that. And I love that you can use this little tip in combination with the bead reamer, because some of you already have the bead reamer, right? And you just need this part. Or some of you don't have either and you're like, I always do pearls, but I like to make pearl earrings too, and I want to make my own ear wires. This is a great little combo that you could get, and you've added some really great tools to your stash. So that is why I have included these guys. Now let me put this back in here, and now I'm gonna stop for just a second and check the comments, because apparently I get in the zone and I miss lots of things, and I only have a couple more things to show you guys. So let's see here. Let's look. Here's a question. Why wouldn't they have created this with a place to hold the attachments? That would have been a great idea. I love that. Just scrolling back here for a second. Okay, it doesn't look like I've missed anything, but if I have, guys, please don't hesitate to post them real loud. Please scream at me. Wanda knows the drill. I love that she brought up the Instacart, because it never fails. In one of my classes, one of the lives that I do in one of my groups, I always have like grocery orders going, and I have to double check, you know, my Instacart order. It's too funny. Okay, so let's move on. So next up, this is one of my favorite things in the entire universe. And I'm not joking. In my jewelry making universe, this is one of my favorite things ever. And the fact that you can get this on the Art Beads website makes me so crazy happy. We're going to be using this in a project this Friday, so be sure you're setting your reminders for that, because I'm making a bracelet using the tying station. Every time I use the tying station somewhere, somebody sees it and goes, "What is that and how do I get my hands on it?" I'm so happy to have this on the Art Beads website, and I will make sure that as long as I'm there, we will continue to have the tying station, because it is one of my favorite products ever, ever, ever. Now, for those of you who don't know what this is, I'm going to explain it to you. This is a way to create things that you need to attach. Now, what would that mean? Well, let's think about a bracelet. Let's think about macrame. Let's think about knotting. Think about, gosh, anything you can think of where you need to attach the ends and you need to get your fingers underneath it. This is the tool for you, okay? Not only does it have the really handy ruler on this side, but it has this opening underneath, which makes it easy for you to kind of scoop your fingers underneath there to get to the underneath side of whatever you're working on. Now, I know it's difficult to kind of envision this, so that's why I say you definitely want to set your reminders for Friday's class so you can see this tool in action. But I use this for macrame in particular, friendship style bracelets, anything that I've got to do knotting where I need to have, you know, at least the top. Remember back in the day when we would do like hemp jewelry and we would use a clipboard or a safety pin, and you could safety pin it to your sock. You could safety pin it to a couch cushion, whatever. This is like the adult grown-up version of all of those things that we did, right? This is the answer to that. This is what I wish that my 15-year-old self had, and I'm glad that my adult self has access to now. So you take the end of this off, and sometimes I just slide it up depending on what it is, and your work fits between these two acrylic plates, and then you can tighten this down to keep the end tight. You can also do the same thing down here to keep the end tight. So let's say you're doing macrame and you've got a cord that needs to run back and forth and it needs to be nice and taut. You can attach it at the top, attach it at the bottom, and then you can do all your knotting to that cord that is going to retain that tension as you are working, right? So super handy for things like that. You can also, the little holes in here, if you've got multi-strand designs that you want to work on, or if you want to use wire, you can even use these holes and go back and forth and create sort of like a loom and work back and forth with warp threads going through these holes. Like, this is such a cool tool to have. I use it for so many different things. Macrame is really how I got started making jewelry as a teenager. So to have this really kind of full circles everything for me, because I really wish that I had this when I was a teenager, but now that I have it as an adult, I can really kind of make adult level friendship designs, macrame, any of those kinds of things. So this is definitely one of my favorites. You can also slide it up so that if your work is short, right, and you only need this much space, you can slide the end up so that you can work here. You know, maybe you've only got a 4-inch piece, set it to 4 inches. You can work in between the two pegs here, which is really nice. And then if you've got a piece that is longer than this, right? Think about like those multi-wrap bracelets, right? You can work on a whole section of that, right? And then when you have this section done and you're ready to move on to do another 10 inches of a product or project, you get the squishy end, right? And the squishy end means that in place of this acrylic plate, right? Let's say I've done 10 inches of a bracelet and I'm ready to do another 10 inches. I can move that bracelet up, place it right here, right, where my new end is going to start, and I can continue the project, and I can put this foam over that part of the work that I've already completed, and the foam is going to protect it. So it's not sitting between two pieces of acrylic. It's not going to scratch anything up, and it's not going to break your beads. So the fact that you've got this squishy part that you can, you know, create really long pieces with and protect your work is really, really nice. They literally thought of everything when they were creating the tying station. So definitely one of my top favorite of all time products from Beadalon, and I will continuously have one of these. I actually have 4 of these, and I will always have the flush cutters. So if you ever want to know what 2 things I have to have in my jewelry making, it's these 2 right here. All right, now let's see. Last thing, no, I've got 2 quick little additions to the show that I just thought were just nice little things to add to your cart. One of which being the Beadalon bead scoop. Now I know you can get a bead scoop from anywhere, but I love the Beadalon bead scoop, and I have like 6 of these. I use them for literally everything. This is just a handy little thing to have. If you don't have one of these, now is a great opportunity to grab one, add it to your cart, and get free shipping on whatever else you've added. It's just a nice way to pick things up, right? Pick them up, put them away. I am not a fan of seed bead mess. I apologize for the barking. I like seed beads and I like working with seed beads, but I don't like the mess that they create, right? So if I can, you know, have a little scoop, yep, I'm all about the scoop. So I definitely recommend, if you just want to get yourself a little something extra, I recommend the scoop. Now, the other thing that I recommend that is on the small side, just little extra things that we like to have on hand, that's going to be the spool tamers. And this is the last thing I'm going to talk about. And then I'm going to we're going to do a giveaway, and then we're going to finish out our day. But if you've never gotten your hands on the spool tamers, or you don't know what these are so nice. You can use these for your bead stringing wire as well as your regular, like your hard wires, like your artistic wires or your German style wires. Love this. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your clip off of whatever you've got, right? So you're going to take the clip off, and then you're going to take this end of your cord and you're going to thread it through the hole on your spool tamer. Okay, and then you're going to put this in place of that clip. It's going to hold all of your, whoops, I got mine kind of crisscrossed over there, but it's going to hold all of your wire in place. This is particularly helpful for when you have like artistic wire or your German style wire, and you know how when you first undo it and it goes and it all goes in like this big huge mess. This will save that from happening. And you can pull it out, right? And pull out as much as you need. So you don't have to take the whole thing off. You can just pull out, okay, well, I need 6 inches of this. I need 10 inches of this. And then you just pull it, right? You don't have to take the spool tamer off. You don't have to do any of that. And then you just clip it and you've got what you need. Leave yourself a little end, and then you can pull some more the next time you need some. It's really, really handy. Just a little something to add to your stash. These come in a pack of 3. I have tons of them, and 3 is definitely not enough, but 3 is enough to get you hooked. Because once you add these to your wires and you realize how easy these are to use and how much more convenient and mess free it makes things, you're gonna want more than 1 pack of them. But I do like that you get more than 1 in a pack, because that's really, really it's really nice to have a few of them. It's also a great way to travel with your wire. I used to carry a work bag with me when I worked somewhere else where I had to take my tools and my stuff with me, and I would put the spool tamers on all of the wires that I had and just throw them in my bag, and it was so much easier than having to pop this off. And like, you know, I could just take one out, get what I needed real quick and snip it, and then throw it back in my bag, and I didn't have to worry about it. So super nice. Super, super nice. All right, guys, I'm going to turn you around. I hope that you guys have enjoyed the show today. I really do. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of passionate about all the things. And I always want to share that passion for all the things with other people. So this was a pleasure of a show to do. I really, really enjoyed this one. Now, let's give something away, shall we? Eric, what was the winning item for flush cutters? Flush cutters are the giveaway item today. All right. I kind of knew that's what it would be. I had a feeling. Okay. So are you guys ready? Are you ready? Okay. Listen to the question, and the first person who gets this right in the chat wins the flush cutter. Okay. You ready? When Meredith at Beadalon starts her Facebook Lives, what are the 3 things that she says right out of the gate? What does Meredith say at the beginning of every single one of her shows? I'm looking for 3 words. Ready, go. What do we got? What do we got? Oh, Susie! Boom. You guys know it. You guys know it. Susie C. She was fast, and Wanda was right behind her, and then so is everybody else. Yes. It is some variation of hi Beady friends, hello Beady friends, hey Beady friends, every single time. That is how Meredith introduces herself and says hey to everyone. Well, that's not how she introduces herself, but that's how she says hey at the beginning of every single one of her Beadalon lives, and it is definitely recognizable. So I'm so glad that y'all know that. It means that you're watching her shows, which is really, really important, guys. You definitely want to be sure you're checking out the Beadalon lives. Meredith is an amazing designer and a great person, so definitely be sure that even while you're watching the art beads, that you're also keeping an eye on our friends over at Beadalon, because we most definitely are friends in real life and in the industry. So definitely love our friends at Beadalon and love Meredith. Congratulations, Susie. Way to go. That's pretty awesome. All right. So we have come to the end of our trunk show for Tuesday. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Like I mentioned already, I really enjoyed doing this one with you guys. It was a lot of fun. It's a great way for me to not only show off my favorite products, but to also give you a little bit of education about the products as we talk about them. And I think I've answered some questions that are always kind of out there, particularly about the different strands of the wires and things like that. Those are questions that come up a lot. So being able to take a minute and explain those kinds of things without being rushed in the middle of a project is really nice. So thanks for hanging out with me this evening, guys. Thanks for everybody who entered into the giveaway. And don't forget, guys, you can what are the words I'm looking for at this point? My brain just shut off. You can continue. There we go. You can continue to get free shipping for 1 more hour. So that's it. And it has to include an item in today's show. So if you have an item in the show, in your cart, from now till the next hour, only just a small window of time, you're going to get free shipping. So take this as an opportunity to load that cart up with all of the other items that you want that are not part of the show. Just make sure you do have items from the show, and you're going to get that free shipping straight to your door. Right? All right, guys, that is it for me. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you so, so much. Be sure that you set your reminders. Don't forget, tomorrow, Julie's Bead Table is at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And of course, Becky is on Thursday, and I will be with you guys on Friday afternoon. And we are going to be doing a tying station project. So don't forget to set your reminders for that. All right, guys, have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you soon.